like to welcome you all to Model. It's fantastic to see such a great crowd for the first of our autumn talks. I'd like to introduce you to Leonie Young. She's our current artist in residence, and Leonie has been with us for 3 weeks, so this is her last week now here in Ireland. So it's great to have Leonie with us. I'll just run through a few health and safety regulations before we start. It's great to see she's a great crowd. So the next time, if you will come again, which would be brilliant, we've got 3 talks in the autumn time, we'll hold the talks in the black box. But for the moment, in case of a fire or anything, this is actually to the outside, so this is the exit. You can exit through this side of the building here. Okay. So I suppose I'll just speak very briefly about Leonie, and then I'll hand you over to Leonie. Today, Leonie is going to, she's kind of set up a little mini sort of example of what her studio looks like upstairs. So what Leonie will do initially is we'll talk you kind of through the practice and her current practice and what she's been doing here, I suppose, in Sligo, while she's been here during this residency. And then she's going to talk you through some of her practice as well, current practice and past practice. Her practice is mainly drawing-based, photography, video. I would also include driving and walking as very much kind of part of your process as to how you arrive at your work. And interesting kind of limited editions, these sort of little books as well that kind of crop up here and there as part of her practice. So it's quite varied. But process is very important. In a way, myself and Leonie were talking about, like, would she consider herself to be a landscape artist? So that was a really interesting discussion in terms of art and in terms of landscape and in terms of contemporary art and what that might mean in terms of landscape art. So as well, I suppose what I might add is that Leonie travels a lot with her work. She's and travels a lot generally. She practices in Canada, the United States, throughout Europe, and also here in Ireland, China and Africa as well. She's very interested in stone and rock, modern landscapes and pseudo-landscapes. And I suppose without further ado, I'll ask Leonie to take over.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for coming. So I'm a French artist, so I'm gonna try to not always use the same words. I'm gonna try to not read my notes too much, but it's gonna be a bit hard with the English vocabulary. But it's a good introduction to talk about the landscape, because I'm not interested just in landscape, but I guess that through my work I talk a lot about landscape. And well, actually my work takes its roots in our everyday surroundings, in the urban environment. I'm not really interested in spectacular sites or like very beautiful or touristical sites, but I like more ordinary spaces, ordinary streets, our daily surroundings and environments, the city, and the last time I showed my work, it was to these students in a class. They were in high school or something, and I was showing my work, and this girl was asking, but why don't you take beautiful pictures? Why do you? I mean, your pictures are not so interesting, and why don't you take the Eiffel Tower, for example? Or I was kind of, it was kind of hard to get to have an answer to that, but I guess that's a good short resume or what I do. I'm really interested in discrete things, so, objects that are not so important, or absurd situations, smaller things, and I guess it's more or less finding a poetic way of showing our ordinary landscape or modern landscape. So I guess before I show you some previous works, I'll just talk a little bit about the residency here. I tried to recreate the wall in my studio because I guess it's a good way of talking about how I work. Because actually in my working studio in France, it's kind of the same way of working. I print things and I just put them on the wall, and I also link things that I find, like postcards or images from the internet, posters from exhibition that I saw, and try to find connections, make associations. I think also that's what I'm really interested in, is strange or mysterious association, like trying to find something intriguing or intrigue. Is that a word that you use? Okay, trying to find for something magical or mystical in our ordinary object or landscape. And so strange associations in my images are, associations is also a way of working to me. It's something that we find, that you would find in my images, but it's also in my practice. I like to try to find connections between things that I do. And also I work with video and photography and drawing, and so I always try to link those things and try to find connections. So here in Sligo, so I arrived almost a month ago, and I guess the first thing that in the studio where I am, it's on the first floor. I don't know if you have ever been to the artist studio here in the mall, but so I have a big window and I'm facing the Knocknarea mountain like all day long. So it's probably the thing, and you can see this little I don't know how you would call that, but you know what's on top of the Knocknarea, so I can see it from my window. And so I think this the history and the mythology here and all these legends and mysterious installation with stones and has really inspired me. And as Marie-Louise was saying, that I'm also driving and walking around a lot. Driving around this area and also around Ireland a little more, you find those historical sites like everywhere or on the side of the road. So it was here always, and I guess the postcards that I would find, and I went to different sites, but I took pictures there, but they are sort of in my mind, or it's something that I was carrying on with me in my mind, to take those pictures that are more my work. Like, these sites are pretty spectacular and mysterious, and I think this history to me was a real contrast with this ordinary urban landscapes or traces of urban landscape in the countryside. So basically I was driving around, and I guess I was searching for some kind of magical stone or magical something, but in our ordinary landscape, or ordinary objects, or ordinary installation situations. So I would just drive around searching for something magical or mysterious that I could connect to this mythological legends and history from Ireland. So just stick it on the wall and try to find connections. And also this is an exhibition that I saw in Dublin, which was really interesting and really linked to what I was doing at the same time. So I just put it on the wall, so it made sense to me with the rest. And yeah, so I guess after I show you this little slideshow, you can come over and have a look. I mean, the prints are not so good. The colors are a bit reddish, but still, you can get the idea. So. So I'm gonna show you. Okay, working. Oh, okay, that's better. Okay, so it's more or less a chronological slideshow. I'm working. I'm gonna show you as projects per projects or series per series. So to start, the titles are translated to English, but yeah, I hope it's fine. So this series would be called The Playground of Everyday Life. It's basically a series about this space between houses and the road, and all the objects or like trivial installation or usual objects, but at the same time kind of intriguing installation that you could find in the city. It's in a residential neighborhood in France, and
print these yourself typically, or do you use commercial printers?
you mean for exhibition?
Like, yeah.
No, I don't print them myself. I used to when I was a student, but then I don't have the printer and the equipment and the time. I used to for hours and hours, but now I don't.
What type of camera would you use?
Now I almost use only a digital camera.
Yeah. Like a large.
Like a large one, yeah. Like a Canon 5D. Not super interesting in techniques, but still, I need a big. Yeah, I don't think. Okay, this is an exhibition view from an exhibition that I did with another artist while I was on a residency in Canada. So basically, the exhibition space was called La Vitrine, and that would be in English something like the showcase or the window, and so basically you could see the exhibition only through that window. So with this artist, we made this house wall, typical wooden house wall from Canada, and you could see you had to look through this hole, this rectangular hole there, to see a small installation and a video projection. So first it was a game with this interior, exterior space, and also the houses, the wooden houses, typical from Quebec. And because this other artist and I were really interested in this house space, residential spaces, and inside we built this this space with the small wooden something bridge, or I don't know, like something that you can see in harbors or
Jetting?
yeah, maybe. and and so the video was projected in the back of the room, and I used I filmed the boat and its small lights and also fireworks. It was this contrast between how light close to water can have different meanings, like the light on the boat or the light that you would fire in case of danger, or just fireworks that you would do at the beach. And so, yeah, so it was a lot about lights and fire. So here is it's a picture that I took at the same time as I was filming a video in a car race. So it's a video called Burnout. So I'm gonna play it. It's not very long. It's like 4 minutes and a half. So and. yeah, so this video, I only took I only filmed the moments when it, like, nothing happens, like the cars are waiting and they're doing these burnouts, and like all the moments that are not part of the car race would interest me instead of the car race itself. And yes, yeah, that's enough. Okay, this is another series called Daily Masterpieces. This series I made in Évry. That's a French city in the suburban area around Paris. It's a city that was built in the 80s, and building pieces of art or sculptures in the urban space was part of the whole urban program or building program of this city. So a lot of art pieces and sculpture were built at the same time as the city itself. So this work is about how these pieces of art, sculpture, live with their surroundings. So I worked in this area where, like, between a mall, the post office, and yeah, and there's a small portfolio that I printed with the seer. So basically, yeah, I was working around the sculptures and actually taking pictures of what was around these sculptures, or what they were facing every day, or how they would be, how they would fit in the urban space, or yeah, like how they would melt into the rest of the space. And so actually this is the only picture where you see a part of the sculpture that I was working on. In a way, it's a way of showing how it's actually kind of lost in the space, like nobody knows what it is, and people just don't notice it anymore. So it's really part of the landscape as the rest of the urban benches and vegetations, I mean trees, and yeah, so. So here's a series of drawings called The Blind Spot. In the drawing, I usually use pictures that I take, or images that I would find in newspapers or on the internet when I know what I'm looking for. And basically in the drawings I sort of erase the context, the urban context, to focus on objects from our modern landscape. Or, I mean, a building is not an object, but in the drawings that I make, it feels like it's just an object, because the context just disappears, and so it's kind of trying to show like a surreal dimension, or not surreal, but in a absurd way, surreal or strange dimensions of that you could find in our modern landscape, these objects that are here every day, or strange associations, or how I mean, this is a leisure object, or but at the same time it can be a bit mysterious or scary, like when you don't have any context around it. Would
What
it
is that
fall?
material you're drawing with? Encre?
What?
What's the material? Encre?
Encre, that's ink.
Ink?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
basically I use that actually. Yeah.
I noticed you had Bic. You'd written a Bic ink on art.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah. Usually I use this. You call Bic?
Yeah, would you have it written as Bic?
Yeah, because sometimes it's this one, and sometimes it's another type of pen with I don't know the name, but ink, like black ink. So, but usually I use this or another one. But
And do you choose that because of its kind of banality, or?
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's part of this whole ordinary objects thing. Because when I tried different tools, but I'm really very comfortable with this one, actually. But it's I mean, it's not very good through time, or
Yeah.
it doesn't last
Yeah.
for ages, so it's kind of tricky
Yeah.
if you want to sell something.
Yeah.
This work is a series of pictures that I took in the streets in America, and also in the, how do you call it, American Museum of Natural History in New York. So basically I was working on I wanted to work on American landscape, or how it's very much linked to cinematographic images, and so I took pictures in the city, and at the same time I took pictures of the showcases that would recreate the American landscape in the museum. And and here is another portfolio that you can all read. So this is a view from the museum. So it's a fake nature, fake vegetation, and it's actually a wall painting. So it's this very small space where the fake decor, scenery, change itself into the wall painting. So here it's probably more obvious. Okay, and this is last 3 pictures that I'm going to show you. Called They Live, We Sleep. It's actually a work that I did that is inspired by the John Carpenter movie, They Live, We Sleep, about these aliens that are, these fake humans that are actually aliens, and it takes place in LA, and the city just goes upside down because of like the poor and rich contrast and these human vs aliens, and it's kind of a strange movie. It's a bit kitsch, but it was interesting. And so I went to this residential neighborhood close to Lille, where I live. It's actually a city quite common and a bit boring, called Roubaix. And so I went there, and I was looking for apocalyptic signs of something that would have happened, or of course it's a bit absurd, but that was the idea. Like how we can find some catastrophic or like really apocalyptic signs in our neighborhood. Basically that's it. So
So if there's any questions for Leonie?
yeah.
In the first slide you showed us, the playground of everyday life.
Yeah, sure.
I think it was the second picture, was like a bicycle and a broom.
Yeah, we can put it on. Yes.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. See, did you ever place anything, or did you just take it as it was?
I just take it as it was, but
And the same
actually,
with the wellies, I think, 2 more
Yeah,
steps
well,
down.
sometimes I just move things a bit, but it doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
And actually, I like this ambiguity, or this, like the way I take pictures is very, like I build the frame, or so it looks like a fiction, or something that I could have like put in the space.
Okay.
And I think it's very linked also to installation or contemporary installation, and I like this question, or like, did you put it there, or can it be like this?
Yeah.
But actually it was like this. But I think the way you frame it, and it makes it, it can have a different meaning, or yeah.
See all your images, they're all the same shape and the same size. Is that a conscious decision, or do you crop them to be that size, or do you take them straight from the camera that size?
You mean this series, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah, this series, all the picture was the same size, because I wanted it to be kind of
Uniform.
ordinary size, yeah. But not all the pictures are the same size.
Yeah.
But you mean in the
Yeah.
the exhibition or in the portfolio?
Well, just what you were showing us there, all the photos were exactly the same dimensions. Do you know what I'm saying when I say that?
You mean on the written on the bottom of the no?
No, like you don't have any kind of panoramic looking photos, or... do you know
Oh,
what
okay,
I mean?
yeah, no. I always the same. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's always the same proportions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that mean when you take photographs, you don't crop them?
Yeah, it happens.
You do crop.
Yeah.
Do you do any other post-production with colour, or?
Yeah. I don't I mean, I don't do collage or
Yeah.
collages. I don't really change the picture with my computer, but of course, as I'm working with digital camera, I'm usually working with the colors, and sometimes I just crop a little bit or.
Yeah. I mean, there's usually a distinction between. Just the question I'd like to ask: did you train as a photographer, or did you train as an artist to use photography?
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, it really I was in a art and craft school, so it's like this in between fine arts and design.
Yeah.
So it really depended on the teachers that I had. Like some of the teachers were more like, okay, this is a photography department, but it was not just a photography school. It was a lot of different departments like design, graphic design, and video. So I studied photography and video for my diploma, but I think I consider myself more as an artist who mostly uses photography than a real photographer. Like, I'm really bad in the studio, so I guess that doesn't make me a photographer.
No, it's just, I think for any fine art students here, I think there's a distinction to be made sometimes. I know I have photographer friends and they're, they won't retouch, they don't crop, they're quite specific about leaving full frame negatives or digital equivalents, or about...
Yeah, I'm not very... I mean, what's important to me is the final image that I'm showing. So if I change it, if I change the frame that I first took, or sometimes I would use Photoshop to, like, it's gonna be hard to, like if the house is like that, sometimes I would just... So I'm not really, I'm not a purist, I don't know how you like to... So I use photography because it's mostly the tool that I really that helps me say what I want. But I wouldn't say that I'm a photographer, though I do a lot of photography. And technically I'm not like the super best photographer, so. But
in your burnout, burnout, some of those shots that you took, would you have considered using them as actual stills? Some of them were really, they were quite stationary. They almost had more impact stationary than they did in the moving as a video. I mean, some of the shots were sort of so, the silver halide, is it silver halide? I'm not sure, but there's some kind of print that would give that kind of slightly frosty. It's beautiful shots. And they almost would be lovely on their own as well as in the film.
The way I use video is very similar to the way I use photography. It's very stationary, and in a way it's the frame is very built, or and I like to have still scenes and something is going on in the frame. But I like this kind of still, and maybe it's probably something in between photography and cinema. I mean, this video, but I'm not sure that just just photographies would have been
no, I
better.
said as well. I mean, I didn't mean it to replace it. I mean, the film obviously is, and it has an air, and and it does have a whole narrative. But still shots would also have had almost, as well, would have had a kind of impact because of the actual stationary
Yeah.
stationary aspect of the image.
Mm-mm.
It's a beautiful, clear image and it's small detail.
But it's funny because for this project, like during this video that I was shooting, I also took one picture, like one photography, and I like what's the I don't know, the connection between this only photography and the several shots from the video that still look like a bit like photography, but like moving photography, but and this photography that is just one small moment. I like the contrast between the two.
Thank you.
You said in the beginning that you are looking for the magic and metaphysical in the ordinary scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to know how, in which way you will interpret that, or how can we connect through these images to this purpose of yours, the metaphysical and magic.
I think the metaphysical is maybe not really important to me. It was, but the magic maybe. The metaphysical is it's a bit too strong. I wouldn't use more the magic term. How? Okay. I guess it's hard to answer, but it's maybe more like mysterious or intriguing or magical, but in a absurd way or absurd meaning. Like, oh, could this be magic? But actually, maybe it's a bit ironic in a way, or like I think there is some magic in this picture, for example, because of the light and because I mean, what the hell is this thing? Is it a house? No, it's not a house. Is it? Why is it all black behind? What is it? Emptiness behind that? It's for me. It's like but it's just wood, and I mean, we can see it's maybe the beginning. I mean, the start of a beach, and you can see a few some grass, and I mean it's wood. We know wood. It has the shape of a house. It's probably being built. I mean, you can have a.
Can we say that through this image you are trying to connect with another type of reality for that
Yeah,
same
maybe.
image? Like I said,
Maybe it's a
that
way.
dialogue in between two things that what you are referring as magic. That I'm getting an image and then whatever that image provokes in you and
Yeah.
connects to you, that kind of dialogue is where you feel like it's the magic of the picture. That can be something like that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Leonie, could I ask, I teach drawing in the college, and I'm just kind of curious, when you make the drawings, because you could do, you know, in terms of what you said about what it is you're doing, and you know, decontextualizing the images, and you work with images to begin with, it would be as easy to do that, you know, with photography or photographs. What is it? Why do you do drawing? What is it that it does?
Well, it's a question that I asked myself. Like, for example, this one. I could have just, I mean, it's a picture that I took in an airport, so basically I have the file. I could just erase the context. But I think with the drawing, maybe it's not that obvious with this one, but maybe like with this truck from an airport, still in an airport. I guess drawing it brings the question like, is it real or did she make it up? Did she make it up? Or so I think this is why drawing came with this series, or because it's true that, I mean, this picture is also a picture that, I mean, this image is first a picture that I took, and then I drew it, but it brings a different meaning, and yeah, I think it's this. Okay, did she make it up, or is it true? Is it real? What is this object? Is it?
I noticed that the drawings tend to be smaller than the photographs.
Yeah.
Is that, is that deliberate? Well, I know it is deliberate, but I'm asking maybe to explain why.
Yeah, well, it's. Yeah, I don't know actually, because I didn't show you. I have this other series of drawing with just buildings, and actually the size of these drawings are bigger. Maybe it's because buildings are bigger, bigger than a car, but I don't know. Like for example, these two drawings are very small. I think I like the fact that they are small, but but at the same time it's an explosion, it's something quite dramatic. So I like to have it smaller, and you have to go closer to get to this strange thing happening.
They're kind of like an inverse of your photographs.
Yeah, in a way. Also, I think I use photography more as a painter would build an image. So to me, they're like paintings, and the drawings are to me smaller things. Also, the shape that they have, a lot of white and just a small thing on the paper. So I guess it, yeah. Yeah.
I like your still photos, and I reflect them to my own observations when I take pictures, and I look at it more in a kind of geometric kind of setup. And the idea came to me: what is the point where you, how is the point where you define that this is you, how you walk the world, or how you walk the town? Because they're very, there are moments, they're kind of capturing an emotion or a peace or wind or whatever. What is the moment? How came you to the define, that's me, that's what I want to say, that's how I observe?
I think it's a long walk. Like it takes several years to really define it. I guess I always knew that I was interested in ordinary things more than spectacular things, or that our everyday life would interest me more than spectacular things or incredible. But I think I knew. I mean, it's something that I probably knew walking. Like, maybe every step of the walk made me realize more and more what I was interested in. I think first it was more or less an instinct, or like, okay, this is what I'm interested in, and the picture after would be influenced by the picture that I would have taken before, and then the drawing is not coming from nowhere, it just comes from the picture that I just did before. So I think it's more or less something that is still building, but
is it in a sense, because they say all the time, two people can sit in a cafe and have a conversation, have different memories. And being an artist, you can sit in a cafe and you see differently than somebody else. Like the girl said, why don't you have the Eiffel Tower? So is it an earlier experience of having come from a beautiful place, or having observed emotionally places you recollect or?
That's really hard to answer. I think I come from a very small. I grew up in a very small city, which is actually where I took this first series. So it's a quite boring city. So maybe this is where it comes from, like being interesting, like finding the magic in the boring spaces. I don't know, but for example, here when I get in my car and I'm like, okay, today I'm driving to the Knocknery and I'm gonna walk all the way up, and so I have like 10 minutes drive and I arrive there. And actually what's more interesting to me is what I find on the way. I'm like driving and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, so I just park the car, take a few pictures, then go continue. And when I was going to the Knocknery, I also took pictures in this small industry of graves that would shape graves, like marble graves. And I would stop there and like I spent, I don't know, like half an hour taking picture there on the way. And this was more interesting to me, I mean, as an artist, as a image maker, than the pictures that I took on top of the Knocknery. Or, I mean, it was a really great moment, but as what is going to get out of this day, for example, it's more what I find on the way than what I find on the end of the trip or something. So, yeah.
Just in relation to kind of most of the images that you've shown us, they are urban areas. They're concrete, like AV and UV and all those.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose here, like you mentioned that for residents, the pictures there, they're kind of, they're not cities, towns. And it's kind of quite interesting what it's like for you to kind of, I mean, obviously this is familiar territory, the concrete, the urban areas, built-up areas, and then somewhere like Sligo, which has a town, but very much kind of the county makes Sligo just as much. And what's that like for you to kind of see that type of landscape where the town is very much kind of, I'd say, inferior to the larger landscape?
It's interesting actually, because it's true that like here, what I was looking for was more or less traces, or like small reminders of the city, but inside a more countryside area, or more in the nature, or but I think maybe also having driving around made it different, because usually I walk around, and I think it's very different. And maybe if I hadn't taken my car here, maybe I would have more. Maybe my work would have been different. I don't know. Maybe the way of going from one point to another really can really change your work. So maybe that's, yeah.
So do you incorporate actually your walking? If it's a car, if it's a horse, if it's walking, sorry, I didn't mean it seems to reflect your point of observation, isn't it? Does it? And it influences your point of observation.
Do you mean between walking and driving?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, well, I feel it now that we're talking about it, but I was not really asking myself, oh, if I drive, it's going to change my whole work. Wow, great. But yeah, I guess in a way it's different. But I don't know really how, but I mean, it's obvious. It's I don't know how, but on the other hand, it's obvious. It's just a different different speed. It's I guess you don't look at things in the same way. Also, when you drive, you have to park, then it takes more time. So it has to be really a good picture that you're gonna take. I don't know. I'm joking, but it's hard to define how it's changing. And also this series that I've been this project that I've been working on here is not completely done, or it's still, so I don't have enough I don't know the word, but I'm still in it, so it's hard to define what's going on here. But I think my car was really something important here. Actually, yesterday night I shot a small video with my car, so on the parking lot there. So I guess, yeah, maybe it's gonna be something. I don't know. We'll talk about it in a year.